Hello again. Welcome back to Billy Ho Sports. I'm going to start off the show. I don't usually talk about personal life and things of this nature, but my parents have been really going through a lot of problems lately, surgeries, complications, mobility issues. They're both on a walker. They're both well into their 80s. Most of their care, if not all of it, falls on me. It's been getting tougher and tougher. We had this 2001 Jeep Cherokee that got us through about the last 5 or 6 years, but now it's just unreliable, constantly breaking down. The AC barely works. I'm trying to get them in and out of the back seat. It's become a real burden. So basically, what I did was I started a GoFundMe page to help raise some money to buy them a safer, more comfortable SUV, just like a little mid-sized, $5,000 to $10,000 is what I'm shooting for. If that anything can help. So there's a link in the description if you want to get all the details of that. Please don't feel obligated to donate at all. Just sharing it around to people you know would mean a lot. So I really do appreciate you listening to my story. Hope you check out the GoFundMe, and I would really appreciate anything you can do because we've got a great card for Saturday, and we're going to cover races 5 through 10. Build us a Derby City 6 ticket. We'll be running some split the pot contests down the road. We're gonna put you guys on the big wheel for a spin. The winner gets a $20 bet on me that we split if we win. We'll do Stephen Foster weekend. We're gonna do Ohio Derby coming up pretty soon too. Stephen Foster's at the end of the month. To be eligible to win, you have to subscribe to the channel. Number one, click that like button and leave a comment. Commenters are the ones that go in the draw, so you have to leave a comment to get your name in the draw. Use the hashtag BHS to help promote the channel. And what's your exacta for this first race, the Monomoy girl? It is a really, really tough race, and we're going to take a look at it right now as we dive into some past performances. So this is the Monomoy girl overnight stakes, purse 175,000. These are for 3-year-old fillies. And these are got some good ones in here. We've got the return right on time, and we'll talk about her in just a second, Immersive. But we're going to start with number one, Princess Alaya, Dwayne Lucas filly. Hasn't done really much outside of Oaklawn Park, where she did some damage here in I forgot what the name of that Valley of Vapors. That's the name of the stakes, and doesn't add up. She's not done well, just at a mile and a 16th or longer. It's a hiking class, so I'm going to lay off of her on this one, because she seems to do really, really well at a mile, but you extend her out and she doesn't have any good results. So we'll let her go. Here's Immersive. This was Brad Cox's original top-notch filly. And you can see as her start off to her career, she won the Spinaway, the Alcibiades, and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. 3-time Grade 1 winner in her first 4 starts. The biggest 3 graded for probably 2-year-old fillies in the country. And then she had to go on the shelf, and I believe she suffered some kind of injury or something or other that derailed her. And of course, after the disappointing loss by Good Cheer in the Acorn, she couldn't come along at a better time. So if she's fit, and I feel like she is, it's a drop in class. It's definitely a soft landing spot for her. And the works look okay. 5 and 101, 4 and 49. The 4 and 48, I think the ones back here a little bit further are like 3 and 36. Our fitness works, and then now she's just kind of doing a little bit of maintenance toward the last couple leading up to it. But if she's fit, she should roll. Obviously, she's 4-5 chalk opening line. Now this one is the one I have the most interest in as far as a value play. 4-1 Anna's Promise, and it's going to get Luis Saez aboard back again after a couple of trips at Gulfstream Park, dropping in class as well. High percentage jockey Carlos David. Trainer routes 20%. He's solid works. I really she's led me on a journey. If you don't know, my grandmother's name was Annabelle Webster is what her name was. And any horse named Anna, like Torpedo Anna last year, this year Anna's Promise, she always liked her name. I believe she had a horse named after her specifically by my family, because her sister, my Aunt Jeannie, and brother-in-law Gene, owned and trained horses back in the day. I probably mentioned that in passing in a previous video, but I don't remember the name of the horse. So let's get back on track here. The wins at the OC, this mile and 16th was pretty impressive here. I jumped on her at the Gulfstream Park Oaks at 8-1, and she almost got me there. She was beaten, pretty significantly, 2.5, 2.25 lengths, but she was really charging. You could see she ran second the whole way. She breaks very well from the gate, sharp, and she's got good acceleration. down the stretch to get clear when she needs to. So she has, you can see her solid. Of course, she just got blown away in the Oaks, ran a plus 19, plus 17, but she was 29 to 1. And I bet I put just a chunk of change on a show bet, and she was right there down the stretch. And then she just kind of got tired and didn't make it. But she is a competitor. I think she will be absolutely on the board, top three in this race. And if not, surprise, if maybe by some reason Immersive is not ready to fire, she's going to be right there. She could get loose and take it. And Minnesota Money, probably my least likely in this one. Kelsey Danner tried her on turf and all weather, but had to be encouraged. He did have to be encouraged by the mile and 70 off the dirt effort in Delaware this last out where the filly took it home. But the speed figures are pretty weak. Moving up in class, poor jockey, poor speed. So no thanks on that. Running away is definitely an interesting one. Wesley Ward, obviously, you look at his record right now. He's got 6 wins, 7 seconds, and 3/3 in 26 starts, 23%. Third off, I mean, all of his conditions are right. Winner last race, third off layoff, non-graded, and 2025. He's all winning, at a very good clip. And obviously, Johnny V, the man, is the GOAT when it comes to this kind of stuff. And you can see that came off the turf in the slop, and she took it home by 4 lengths. Running away from the field, basically. So they was like, well, that's probably not a good idea to try her on turf because she's absolutely crushed 3 out of her last 4 efforts. The only effort she whiffed on was the grade 1 Ashland, and she just didn't have it that day. So sometimes it happens. So she was a heavy 1-2 favorite and led the whole way when she was challenged. She responded. So nothing wrong with her. And then you have Take Charge, Milady. And this is Kenny McPeak's horse. If you recall, she ran a really, really good second place to Lacara, who we just saw Lacara upset the Good Cheer in the Acorn. So Lacara's no joke when she gets out on the lead. So she ran second to her on the inside rail, but she developed a foot abscess coming into the Oaks, and it's that kind of an injury or a minor scrape that they just treat and they put ointment and they soak. I don't know what all they do, to be perfectly honest with you, but it is just like treating a wound, and they can run with it. Lots of horses run with foot abscesses. So he thought I didn't think she was going to be 100%, but Kenny McPeak ran her anyway, and obviously she was never in the race. She got brushed. She got off to a bad bump and start, and he probably just told Hernandez, if it's not there, just take her back and just take it easy. So I would just draw a line straight through the Kentucky Oaks, and then you look at, of course, she got her ass kicked in the Honeybee as well, but she won the Mount Martha Washington. She broke her maiden at Oaklawn, so she's pretty good at Oaklawn. We'll see what she's got. She's getting back in shape, I think. She had a back-to-back sub 48s. This is what I wanted to mention. Muddy track, too, and sub 48 4 furlong works. So she's firing, and so she's another candidate for the board. I would say the 3 horses that I mentioned so far, but I mean, it is just a 6-horse race. So basically what it amounts to me is if number 2 is fit, she probably wins. I don't mind if you single her in the beginning of the pick 6, because that's always helpful. You have to find at least 2 singles if you want any kind of reasonable ticket. And I'll show you mine. It's going to be a pretty good one. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to spread it out. I'm going to key the 2 like in a box, like a trifecta box or something like that, and with like the 3, 5, and 6, and we'll see what happens there. But leg 1, I believe I'm going to go 4 deep, 2, 3, 5, 6. I'm doing everybody but money. Minnesota Money. So I'm taking the shot that Minnesota Money's not going to get there, but I am going to use all 4 because I'm kind of afraid of running away if that one gets loose on the lead, which I don't think that the leaders will. So if you wanted to shorten your ticket, the first 5 would be the first out, but I'm absolutely doing the 2, 3, and the 6. I think that you could box those 3 in a trifecta. I think you'd be in pretty good shape, but I don't just want to take the 4 to 5 chalk in leg 1. So I figure if we could try to bust it up a little bit, that would work out really good. So let's move on to race number 6 and see what we got there. And we'll try to tighten things up a little bit, going a mile for 50K, and it's 3-year-olds and upward. Never won 3 races or 3-year-olds. So number 1, Neon Knights, I should say, cutting back to a mile. He won at Churchill at that distance in the slop a little while back, and under Torres was the jockey that day. You can see right there, 1 mile in the slop. We're going a mile. I haven't checked the weather this week, but I don't think that there's any weather in the forecast that I know of just yet. We have had some pretty nice days. We had some rain, but it's been cranking back up into that humid summer type temperatures here in Louisville. So we'll keep a lookout on the weather. Just make sure you double check and make sure there's not an off track or things are being pulled off the turf. Okay, number 2, Badge of War, is another early speed figure. Rick Dutrow and Frankie Dettori hook up here. Dutrow is 23% in the claiming ranks. back-to-back wins going a one-turn mile at Aqueduct. But when he faced better horses, he faltered. And I think it's tough to go wire to wire doing this mile. I feel like there's a fairly low percentage, like 2 out of 10, which 20%, I guess, it might be a high rate, but I think it was 2 out of 10 where the leader at the half mile actually won the race. So I'm not sure if I want horses that are out here on the lead at the half mile like this one is. So Badge of War is one to look at, but I don't think I'm going to get there this time. Number three is Passing Game, and that is Peter Urton and Jose Ortiz. And this one, I'm think I'm warming up to. Now, look, this 48 here does not look good at all, going a mile and an eighth. But look who he ran against, just a touch. And everybody, or like Matthew DeSantis, shout out to him, who hosts Naira Betts show. He was really high on Just a Touch. He saw him in person, said he looked like an absolute beast, and was actually high on him in the Belmont Stakes. And then the second place horse you see right there, Parchment Party, that horse went over and took the Belmont Gold Cup, going 12 furlongs in the slop last weekend at Belmont. Parchment Party. And then you have Gould's Gold, who's another heavy contender. You can see Gould's Gold won his next out after that one. So he faced some really, really tough competition, and he just got out there and got a little in over his skis early and then just flopped late. So I could forgive that. It's going a mile and an eighth, so we're cutting back to a mile. That puts him pretty close, actually, around this second call number, somewhere in that neighborhood. So he's going to be in the mix. I really like this horse with Jose aboard and Peter Urton. I like it being sired by Medaglia d'Oro. I just really think that's a strong sire for the fillies. You'll see lots of good progeny there for filly runners. So Passing Game is high on the list, well-bred, ready to pounce. And then we have Evening News, Robert Diodoro. Mr. First after the claim, I remember looking at him last summer, and he was way better than 20% after the claim. You can see 410. He's winning 1 out of every 5 first after the claims, but he was cranking them last year. It just seemed like every time I looked at him, he was claiming a horse, and then the next race he was winning. So I don't know, shorter distance. It's a long shot. I'm not going to be there for it. The speed figures are a bit shy of what I'm looking for, but I just thought I'd mention that in passing. So we go to number 5, Crushed It. And this is Sherry DeVoe, Brian Hernandez. Obviously, dropping in class, 26% trainer, all that kind of good stuff. Been off for a couple months. Should be pretty fresh. Dialed in is the sire of this 4-year-old gelding. Looks like the right distance, but I would probably just use an exotics underneath. I don't think I'll go for the ticket win. Now, Princetown is a different story. I think the man of the hour, Tower of Power, Billy Mott, is crushing Triple Crowns, but he's got Princetown, and he's winning at 33% at Churchill Downs, 7 out of 21. He's got touchdowns. And then he's got a field goal and a 2-point conversion to go underneath that. 7.32. That's 12 out of 21. Well above 50%. You can see he's a plus shipper. He's a plus 40 to 90 days away. All that kind of good stuff. First time in the claimings. Not so great, but I think that getting him back to the mile distance here on this one was a good idea because he wired him pretty easily, but doesn't have to have the lead. You can see right off a little, press the pace a little bit better, like he did when he broke his maiden. 4-year-old colt by Spadestown. I think that's a solid 5-2. Even Jamie Torres doesn't shy me away. Of the Torres boys, I don't know which one I like better, but I think Jamie's a little bit better. You can see he's pretty decently consistent for a journeyman. He's got 11 wins, 10 seconds, and 11 thirds in 83 starts. So, that's pretty decent, close to pushing 40% in the money. So we'll go for it here. You can see how high 64% in the money Mott is with the first time in the claiming. So that one's definitely an underneath use at worst. The May 25th 4-furlong work in 46-1 is right on schedule with what I want right here. This May 25th work, second of 66. That's really strong work. And then you just get a couple fitness works in. So I like the way the race is shaping up for Princetown. Special Dispatch number 7 is cutting back to a mile, but hasn't been able to crack the winner's circle this year. Picks up Saez, which should help. Ran well about this time last year at Churchill Downs in a big time claiming race. You can see there, here it is, 23rd of June in a big claiming race here. Ran third by a neck. I believe that's Frosted. I'm not really sure, but the second place horse won. You can see Game Warden won next out. So coming out of a lot of key races going up there. And then you see he's got one rival, Neon Knights, in this one too. So cutting back a little bit in distance where he had the lead in the stretch. So I wouldn't be opposed to that one. But the selections for this one is going to be number 3, Passing Game, coming in fresh, and number 6, Princetown. Those two are the top 2 selections. And I will probably go with the 3 and the 6, but I think maybe just the 3 for the ticket. I think in order to maintain my price range that I wanted to keep it under $100, I had to single the 3 in this one. So if you wanted to use the 6, and then like say you want to single the first race, and then you can spread a little bit here, and you can go like 367 or something like that in this one. Because I got a 50-cent trifecta that's 3-6 over 367 overall. And so that's gonna lead us into race 7, and that's going to be another claimer for a 1 mile trip. This one's 3 years old and up, which haven't won 2 races. Open type company, McElroy. I was wondering if weight mattered, so I'm going to run through the weight. This is the weight right here, the 118. If you didn't know that, certain races, depending on the conditions, allow for weight relief. So this one's carrying 118, and this one's carrying 124. So 6 pounds is not that significant. It really starts getting significant when it gets up into double digits, in my opinion. So you see 124, 124, 124, 124. So 124. So really the weights mean absolutely nothing to me in this race. I thought there might be something to it when I saw the 118 on the first. McElroy, but Rod Brissett is 40% at turf to dirt, and blinkers on for the one post is a nice setup. He's had some lugging issues. If you look at the first 2 races, you can see the lugging in and the lug start. So the blinkers should help. This one definitely did not do very well in the last out on the turf at Churchill. So going back to the dirt, so turf to dirt, that's where you get the 39% for Brissett. I think picking up Saez is good. He can steady the hard spun colt, and probably just an exotics use. I'm going to pass on number 2, Lose Legacy, for time reasons, and get to Django. Kenny McPeak, Jose Ortiz, and was not quite unchained here, but almost got there. 1 length short of El Magnifico, and who El Magnifico came out and won right back in wire-to-wire fashion his next race. They in the race that I watched, Django was pretty good. Big 91 speed figure, came from behind, hit the stretch in third, got some bumping and grinding, but wasn't phased by the contact. Was kind of just brushed, but I mean, he blew by the horse that brushed him and wasn't even paying attention to him. So he wasn't phased by the contact at all. Closed well for that second. So he's a really, really strong choice for me. Hint, hint. Remy's Moon's going to be a pass. And then here's Real Men Violin. And, you know, this goes, for me, goes all the way back. I feel like even prior to what you see on your screen here. Back to the 2-year-old season, when he finished second, he backed up his maiden win at Churchill Downs and then went right into the Kentucky Jockey Club, ran second to Honor Marie. He's cashed in a few stakes races since then, now back down to Allowance Company, and he might be 50% of his 16 starts on the board, so he's an underneath use, but 1 win, lifetime, no thanks on Real Men Violin on the ticket. So maybe an exotics use, number 6, Footprint, making his 25 debut for Albert Stahl. Ran versus tougher in the fall, but I don't have a whole lot of interest. When they start getting up to 6 months, that's borderline for me. I can accept it if I think they're training up to it well, but I'm not really sure this one is or not. It's got a couple of decent works coming in, but the connections are not there for me. Albert Stahl, Julian Leperoux not doing it for me. So number 7 is Next Level. Ran third behind Django, and also a third in the Matt Win last year. Has pretty good vibes at Churchill Downs. If you see this allowance, closed to third there, ran a 92, and then ran in the Matt Win. That's when Society Man and Houday, Jareth Loveberry was riding back then, and he came missed place, really close to the place. So really solid run in the Matt Win, going a mile and a 16th. Mostly mile and a 16th races. Excuse me. But James Graham takes over for 2025, and just really didn't find his spot yet. Fairgrounds was no good, and then improved a little bit the second out, but then took a little break and came back to Churchill Downs, where I think he's a better horse, and got a little bit better. Like I said, right there, Django ran second, so I would put him underneath Django as far as selections go. But I'm going to use him because I think he might pop. Vino de Rosso sire James Graham sometimes can be real sneaky in these kind of races because he's not that well known, maybe more of a turf rider. But we'll go 3-7, leg 3, and then we're going to move on to race 8. And race 8 is 1 mile on the turf. This time, fillies and maidens. Number 1, Hello Beauties, a good-looking one. 7-1 Morning Line, Jack Sisterson, Frankie Dettori, blinkers come on. That should help after watching her down the stretch in that last race there. She was in tight, but she looked like she was looking at the crowd the whole time down the stretch. She was actually drifting inward toward the horse. next to her where Rosario was trying to straighten her off for that, but her head was cocked toward the crowd like she was just not paying attention to what she was doing and wasn't running straight. So I think getting a better jock. Well, I don't know if it's a big upgrade from Joel to Frankie to Tori, but I think with the blinkers that this horse will be more focused. So I really like that as an addition, focusing her gaze on the race at hand and not the crowd. Running game number two, 4-1. That's Joe Sharp, Jose Ortiz. Nice debut, 78, and ran fourth for the maiden, but just 5 furlongs. So this is a really, really starting point. I mean, you're doubling, well, not doubling, but you're going for 5 to 8 furlongs in your second ever race. Inside post is not that great of a win percentage. Game winner, I don't know about Siren. A lot of turf success there. We know the only reason I'm familiar with Game Winner is because that's the sire of Gaming, Bob Baffert's horse, who we've seen kind of wash out of the Derby Trail and then actually scratched out of the big race, the Matt win last Sunday. So running game, it's really just a horse I think that's worth fading at a low price. So we're going to move on. Sun Lightning, 30-1, 3 tries on the dirt to no avail. Now giving the grass a go. So I'll have to see it to believe it. Star Blessing. I don't typically back first time starters. Wayne Catalano's not bad though. He's really good with turf debuts, 31%. So breeding does suggest you'll like the grass. So if you're going to go, I guess there's a couple in here that are first time starters I would consider. But I'm going to go with the other one I think, and this is number 5, Jewel City. 15-1, got her brains beat in her first 3 races as a juvenile, but now she's first Lasix. That could help, but still too long of a layoff. 7 months is beyond my limits for a horse that I think's a long shot anyway. And Rodina, kind of the same way. Blinkers on, first Lasix. Huge favorite in the debut last August, but was outrun. And 10 months off, that's an auto fade for me. Now, this is one of the few exceptions I'll make on a first-time starter, Brad Cox. I mean, debuts, I mean, I know his percentages don't look as good, but I mean, 24% first time starter and 587, that's a pretty good sample size. 18% debuting on the turf. I mean, we know Brad's probably a little better with the dirt horses than the turf horses, but he's still no slouch, obviously. You have Uncle Mo, which will provide a little speed, and then you have Havisham, who's by Bernardini, and that's going to supply some stamina. So I think a real good mixture of speed and stamina. Manny Franco aboard, usually pretty good with these types of horses. So he's pretty good, 28% the last 60 days with Brad Cox. So Manny Franco getting a ride for the big dogs in this one. So I like Mo expectations. That's what I have. Sheila's Lion's going to be a pass. Might use an exotics, but closed it within 4 lengths at the finish. Her last race was a really good effort. Crowded inside, steadied, and just kind of a rough trip for her first effort off the layoff. She had one career start back in August, didn't run very well, and then she just popped in May 10th. And the May 10th race wasn't that bad. It was better than it looked. She did have a rough start and had to reroute outside down the stretch. So, an exotics use is probably the best I can do on that one with the connections. DeSormo is 0 for 21 so far. And Julian Leperoux's kind of had a bit of a resurgence, but still struggling around that 9-10% win mark. Now, we get into this real competitors here that are some sleepers. You got Mike Maker, Luis Saez, Bembridge Ledge, First Lasix. 4 starts, all as a 2-year-old by English Channel, the other plus. You can see tried the all weather the last out at Turfway and didn't hold very well, but ran pretty strong. So I think it was a pretty good test and training. I think she probably got a lot out of that race. Let's say it that way. And then you're going to come up on 6 months, which is pretty close to my borderline. But you get a Luis Saez up. I think this is a horse that can compete. The speed figures are pretty tight. So we're going to give Bembridge Lane the benefit. Also, I think that's a good sleeper. Also, Crawford, another good sleeper, 6-1. This is Vicky Oliver and Jamie Torres. And you can see a couple of good numbers. Ran better. Let's see, that's 214. So first claim, she ran her best so far, going a mile on the dirt, and then now switching back to the turf. She did close to 5th. It was a pretty good one. I want to say a brutal gate break because she was sandwiched and pushed all the way back to the back. She came from dead last all the way up to get within less than 3 lengths from the winner. So the connections aren't great for percentage, as far as the stats go, but I think a solid surprise underneath use or contender. Now we have number 11. Take note of this. Number 11, take note of this, 15 to 1. Barking at the door for the maiden win last summer, back to back second place finishes. Two different tracks, Kentucky Downs and Keeneland. She had no bid in her next out at Churchill. She's regressed. I'm not going to take her, but this one is probably going to be my selection to win. I'm not a big George Arnold fan, but he's kind of turned it around. 19% winner. He's got six wins, 32 starts, 41% with the beaten favorite. This one ran a mile and a 16th and had the lead in the stretch. Beautiful gray, and just faded away going a mile and a 16th. So we're cutting back to a mile, I think, and just getting our third career race. All of that lines up to this one being pretty good. So a little. What happened was she debuted to a good third, going 7.5, and then faded when she pushed it to 8.5. But it was a really swift pace if you look, plus 10, plus 12, pretty fast pace that she couldn't hang on to. So if it's more reasonable, she gets out there, she'll be just fine. Arnold's turning things around, like I said, 41% positive ROI, 60% in the money. So definitely using that one. I'm not sure I'm considering any of these AEs. If they get in, I'll have to go back and maybe look at them, but I'm not messing with them today. It's a wide open race. I like number one, Hello Beauty. I think he's got the best figures. A tough inside post though, but I think Frankie can manage that just fine. The number 7, Mo Expectations, like I said, 9, Benbridge Ledge, 10, Crawford, and I'm going with the number 12, the Ravada, for the win. And I'll box those 4 horses underneath, and those 5 horses are going to go into the Derby City 6. Moving on to race 9. And that one is going to be an 80K N2X, mile and a 16th on the dirt. And it is number 1, King Russell. Manny Franco, Ron Marquette, under 50% in the money. I'm going to pass on that one. I'm passing on the first 3 just because we're running short on time. Single Dot Yacht, Winner's Lion, no thanks on any of them. Dow Vernon, 24% after the claim for Kennelly. Got 7 wins and 22 starts. Sired by Good Magic is a plus. Louis back on to try for 2 straight. So that one's definitely in the mix. Di Vernon. And then you got Frosted Departure, another good one. Wins at other tracks, but not really that great at Churchill Downs. And that might be enough for me to toss him. You can see he ran a mile right here and didn't run very well for 100K. Does have some of the highest speed figures back in the day, but he's now 5 years old. Maybe his best was behind him. So Frosted Departure is kind of, I'm wishy-washy on him. This is the one I really like, not this boy. I feel like this race is setting up for him to just mash everybody. You can see he starts off his career 5.5, nice win, going at Thistledown, then moves over to Churchill Downs and takes off the rest of the year, obviously. Moves over to Churchill Downs for the 3-year-old season and runs a pretty solid second place in the debut, going 6 in the slop. Then comes back to win at 7 by 7 lengths and 7 furlongs at Ellis Park in the slop. So you can see the second place horse won next out. Then he faced Most Wanted. Remember us talking about Most Wanted a couple of weeks ago, who dropped out of the was it the Preakness? I really have lost my train of thought on this one, but he was supposed to run against, I thought, Fierceness or somebody. I have really lost my place here. But anyway, Most Wanted scratched out of the race. And then I'm sure somebody on YouTube will correct me. He scratched out of that race. He ran Sunday at Churchill Downs and he won easily. Very good horse. Well, Not This Boy came within a nose of beating him. Ran a 105 in the Ellis Park Derby last year. Made his debut, a near miss again, going for 80 N2X. This is my single, Not This Boy. The rest of them are just, hold my bourbon while I tell you how to bet this race. Hold My Bourbon's not too bad. He's got a 31% first start with the trainer, 61% in the money for Saffy. Back on the dirt where he had some success, but I'm singling the 6, and I will use the 6 in a track key box with the 4, 7, and the 8. So leg 4 is number 6. We're going on to the final leg. And I'm going to spoiler alert this one by saying I'm clicking the all button on race 10. We are just, if we're live to the 10th, we're taking it home and we're hoping for a bomb because I just had enough money to do it with a couple of singles. And then we're going to get after it here in just a second. Number one, Lord Bullington. I like the horse, but I don't think he's going to win this race. He's got some good finishes, just not a lot of wins. 3 and 14, lifetime, just barely cracking 50% in the money. Mike McCarthy, Ben Curtis. Then you have Tappet Shoes, which is another weird one. There was a big lost rider situation in the Louisville. Two horses were thrown. Riders were thrown off of two horses, and Tappet Shoes wasn't the one that got it the worst. You can see Bejarano's right back riding again. It was Declan Cannon, the aboard a horse we'll talk about in a minute, was the one that had the tough time. But I won't have Tappet Shoes in here. But these two are the main two: Utah Beach and Rebel Red. This is the one. Rebel Red was the one that lost with Declan Cannon aboard, and he's still recovering from his back injury. But we get done. Jose Ortiz, Sherry DeVoe, Jose Ortiz love this four horse. I think it's good, good spot for him to bounce back off of that lost rider. A lot of people see this these blank spaces here, and they figure the horse, you know, you know, saw what happened and most people can't draw a line through races like that. But I mean, 89s, 87s, you can see if he's progressing, he's going to run in the mid 90s in this next race. I'm predicting. The Red Smith, where he almost went it all the way, got beat by integration and limited liability. That's a race I point to as a kind of a key race for this one. Obviously, Utah Beach on a flat roll. Chaminade is looking for the third straight stakes victory, 2 out of 3 graded stakes. But you can see they're slowly dropping them down. He goes from they steal the grade 2 Elkhorn at 11 to 1, and then drop him down to the grade 3 and steal that one at 3 and change. And now they're going down for another one. But sired by English Channel, can't deny Utah Beach has got skills. Golden Eye's got some skills too, I think. Pretty solid one. Hollywood Turf uh, Cup was 12 furlongs. McPeak's not really great off of long layoffs, but no better than Exotic's Use for me. Lambeth, another one, sired by Arrogate, a solid looking one for Joe Sharp. That one ran a big 106 wire to wire number, but I don't see an early speed horse holding here. Anglophile's another one I like. Anglophile scratched out of a recent race. He scratched out of last week's Belmont Gold Cup because it was pulled off the turf. So I covered him that week, and he looks really good. He's just always down the stretch threatening in all three of these races. His name pops up on the board, and he's as he's coming down the stretch, and you can see he's progressively improving with every start. So Anglophile might be ready to pop, and new jockey up Florence Rowe. And then you have Highway Robber, another good one. Finished third behind Spirit of St. Louis and Mercante. And we know what they did. Spirit of St. Louis didn't do so well his next out, but Mercante knocked him dead. So Highway Robber almost got there with both of those on the inside, threaded the needle. Spirit of St. Louis, it was a really good one. He's beaten Utah Beach and Anglophile before, both of them. So a better shot with a higher percentage jockey. But Kristen Torres, I believe Jamie Torres is my favorite of the two. I don't like Kristen as much. So I'm going to pass. Highway Robber would be underneath use, but we are using them all. Like I said, we've clicked the all button already. So I'm just trying to narrow things down for you on a betting perspective. Single race. Verstappen is another one that's really, really good. These ones down here. And of course, we'll finish off with Shigoi in a minute. But you can see second in the Louisville behind Utah Beach. Fifth in the Elkhorn was very competitive. Verstappen got a couple good ones down here. The JB Connolly was a good one. Just a battle down the stretch with Shigoi, and you can't tell who won that race. So when I see those close finishes, and they were well clear of the third place horse. When I see two up, I give them both credit for wins. So that might as well be first by a nose, even though Shigoi got the first by a nose. Shigoi kind of tapered off in these next two up. 8 year old, I've seen this horse run for years now, and did win last year's Louisville Grade 3, second to Webslinger in last year's Chorleywood, this race. Arlington Million ran in some big races. but just really just most of his wins have not become in like big stakes companies. So I'm gonna fade on like using exotics most likely. So anyway, the final selections, and since that is it for us. So to put a bow on race number 10, I might just do a 3-4 exacta box because those are my mom's favorite numbers to use. And whenever they kind of line up like this, I always like to throw an exacta box in there. But trifecta key box, I would probably use the 4 on top, then with the 3 and the 7 through the 10, because all of those horses can hit. I think a better trip two back in the Elkhorn and the Rebel Red may have won. I'm going to go with those top level connections of DeVoe and Ortiz. Then a close second's Utah Beach. Doesn't appear to be slowing down anytime soon. So 1 and 1A basically. The 7 through the 10 are all underneath uses. So leg 5, we do have all. And that completes our Derby City 6. So if you so chose to, you could single the 2 immersive in leg 1, and then that frees you up to do lots of other things. But I'm going to try to crack the chalk, like I said earlier. So I'm going to go 2, 3, 5, 6 in that one. Then I'll single the 3 in leg 2. I'm going 3, 7 for leg 3. And then I'll shoot 5 deep in leg 4. I'm going 1, 7, 9, 10, 12. And then we're clicking the all button for leg 5. So I believe actually leg 5 is going to be single in the 6. Leg 4 is the 5 deep, 1, 7, 9, 10, 12. I know it kind of gets confusing. I get confused myself because I'm so used to doing pick fives with an extra race in there. It kind of throws off my mojo. So it's really 4 by 1 by 2 by 5 by 1 by 10. So 2, 3, 5, 6, leg 1. Single the 3, leg 2, 3, 7, leg 3. Then we go 5 deep, leg 4. That's the 1, 7, 9, 10, 12. Then leg 5 is single the 6. And then we click the all button for a 20-cent ticket that costs $80. So, best of luck this weekend. Remember, we're doing this year round. Tons of great racing content down the pike. So stay in touch. See you soon.